All right, so you're welcome back. And it's now time for us to take a look at some of the activities that transpired in the course of the week in the port and maritime industry. And some issues happened here in Tema and others happened in the port of Takoradi. But we are bringing you first those that transpired in the port of Tema. And that has to do with the fact that the Ghana Ports and Harbours Authority 2020-2021 National Service Persons donated some water storage facility to the Pung Methodist Basic School to solve some issues that they have there. We'll be bringing you that story. And then Center for Maritime Law and Security, CEMLAWS Africa, also in the course of the week, paid a courtesy call on the Minister for Transport, the Honorable Kweku Ofori-Esiama, to introduce their team to him and to also introduce the new resident director for the United Nations Center for Drugs and Crime, and also indeed to present to him a plaque for his contribution to the maritime industry. Let's take a look at these stories. And when we come back, we shall introduce the Takoradi stories as well.
The Minister of Transport, Kweku Ofori-Esiama, has stated that government will deepen its collaboration with the Center for Maritime Law Africa, CEMLAWS, which is a policy think tank in the maritime sector, in order to formulate policies for the sector. The Minister of Transport made this known when he, together with one of his deputies, Frederick Adom, and the Chief Director of the ministry, received a delegation from CEMLAWS Africa and the United Nations Office on Drugs and Crime.
We need a think tank like you who will do the research and tell the policymakers that is the direction that you all need to go. So it needs two things, planning and management. And you cannot plan, you cannot manage if you don't have the available information, if you don't have the right information. So I think that it is important that whatever collaboration that exists, you should continue to deepen it.
The minister expressed worry over the incidents of piracy in the Gulf of Guinea, which he said has become very volatile.
And whenever your waters are very volatile, you know the consequences of it. It means that the risk associated with your waters are high, insurance premium will be high, the cost of doing business in our waters today are not good, because like people are saying that about 90% of piracy within our waters happen in the Gulf of Guinea. So I think that we will need the right information. The right research must be done and feed the policymakers about the way to go. We cannot do it alone.
He assured that government will continue to support the research work of CEMLAWS Africa, so it will in turn feed government with the right information to be implemented to safeguard the country's marine resources. The Executive Director of CEMLAWS Africa, Dr. Kamaldeen Ali, lauded the Minister for his immense contribution to the maritime sector. He pledged the commitment of CEMLAWS Africa to continue to undertake meaningful research that will contribute to the development of the maritime sector. CEMLAWS Africa presented a plaque to the Minister of Transport in recognition of his immense contribution to the maritime sector.
We do work from the perspective of research. We do work from the angle of policy analysis, and those pieces of work invariably have a space to contribute to what the ministry does. We also can be asked based on our expertise, although there is vast expertise within the ministry also. Time constraints, maybe at times to look for alternative views. We understand that we should also be available if such request is needed on our behalf.
The 2020-2021 National Service Badge of the Ghana Ports and Harbours Authority has donated a water storage facility to the Pung Methodist Basic School. The school has a water closet facility, but students are unable to use it due to the absence of a water storage facility for over 2 years. Making the presentation, the president of the 2020-2021 National Service Badge, Lincoln Divine Yao Minta, said the National Service personnel were touched by the plight of the school and decided to donate the water storage facility as a way of ameliorating the plight of the school amid the COVID pandemic.
We have identified a problem with this school, which is the fact that they have a toilet facility which has been built for 2 years ago but abandoned because of lack of water storage facility to use the facility.
The headmistress of the Pung Methodist Basic School commended the service personnel for the gesture and promised that the water storage facility will be put to good use.
The water facility provided will be used well for the benefit of the entire school.
All right, so you're welcome back. Now, we're going to be zooming into our discussion proper tonight, and so I would like to introduce my guest to you. But before then, tonight we're talking about the port of Takoradi. We can call it the Takoradi port in perspective. You would have heard that some expansion works are ongoing there, and we have three key major facilities that are being developed in the port. One is the bulk oil jetty, two is the dry bulk jetty, and then three is the Atlantic Container Terminal. I want to assess how far these projects have come and also examine the prospects of the port of Takoradi if all these facilities have been completed and they come on stream. What will that mean to the socio-economic living or life of the people in Takoradi and the region as a whole, and to Ghana for that matter? And what will that do to enhance efficient and effective service delivery in the port of Takoradi? Tonight, that's what we're looking at. But before I introduce my guest to you, let me tell you that in the course of the week, the port of Takoradi received a first big oil tanker vessel, a deep draft tanker vessel, at the newly constructed bulk oil jetty. The berth, in fact, was commissioned on the 15th of September 2020 by His Excellency, the Vice President Alhaji Mahmoud Bawumia. And so this vessel came in there and it docked, and it was so nice. It discharged some 9,500 metric tons of gas oil. We'll take a look at that story right now. We are here in the port of Takoradi, and we are specifically stationed at the new liquid bulk terminal. Now, the new liquid bulk terminal was officially commissioned by His Excellency, the Vice President of the Republic, Dr. Alhaji Mahmoud Bawumia, on the 15th of September last year. That is 2020. And today, the berth is receiving its first big draft tanker vessel. Big draft tanker vessel, and you can see the vessel just arriving. It's coming to berth, and it is called the GPHA. It is coming to offload some 9,500, I understand, metric tons of gas oil. And so I would just like to invite Mr. Christian Donko, who is the branch manager for Inchcape Shipping Agency. They are agents for this particular vessel, to tell us more about this particular vessel.
Yes, as Raleigh said, GPHA is the name of the vessel, and it's a chartered vessel, time charter vessel, by BP. And I'm happy to say that we are the first to receive such a vessel in port of Takoradi. The vessel is coming from Lome offshore, and like again Raleigh said, she's coming to discharge 9,500 metric tons gas oil to Astra Oil. They are the receivers of the cargo. Inchcape Ghana Limited is very happy, and we are also proud that we are the pioneers, so to say. Yes, this vessel is something that we want to be proud of, and then also make sure that have been here, the discharge, everything concerning the cargo work goes on smoothly.
We are moving straight to speak to Captain Ebenezer Gakwe, who is the Deputy Harbour Master in charge of logistics. He is here, and when I came, in fact, when the vessel started approaching, moving from the anchorage to the berth, I realized two tugboats had to go and help it, aid it navigate the waters and come to berth. Can you tell us how you are able to do this?
Thank you very much. And then, to be honest with you, we are very excited to have this vessel here. Okay. Our pilots are well trained. In fact, all the pilots that we have in Tema and Takoradi are well trained to handle vessels bigger than this size, longer than this size, and deeper than this. So the tugboats are actually there to just assist in aiding the pilot to bring the vessel safely to berth. Okay, so we don't have any challenge at all. As I've told you, we are ready. We want to assure our stakeholders that we are ready to take even longer vessels than this, deeper draft vessels than this, because the berth is 60 meters, and the vessel that has just come, GPHA, is 12.3 meters. So this is a message to our stakeholders that we are well geared to receive bigger vessels than this.
So we will be speaking again to Mr. Peter Amu Bediako, who is the Human Resource Manager here at the Port of Takoradi. He also has oversight responsibility for marketing and public affairs. Thank you very much indeed, sir. And thank you for obliging us here on IM Port. We are at the new liquid bulk terminal in your port. That's the Port of Takoradi. How does it feel to receive the big draft tanker vessel, GH Parks, this morning?
I think is wonderful. And what I can say is that another milestone has been chalked in the history of Takoradi port. The port keeps on expanding. What is significant about today is the fact that if you look at the size of the vessel, 183, with an arrival berth of 12.3, compared to the old port, which had a berth capacity of 120 meters and a draft of a depth of 8.4 meters. This vessel could not have come into the old port. You understand? So this is a significant success that have been chalked in the annals of the history of the port of Takoradi.
Now, we understand that previously it could take 36 hours for this vessel to discharge whatever cargo it has come to discharge. But currently, it's going to take only 23 hours. That tells us that there's this element of quick turnaround time. How did you achieve this?
No, this was achieved in partnership with our partners, Ibistec and Masha Oil, which is a subsidiary of Ibistec. GPHA concessioned this oil terminal to them. And if you look at the old terminal, everything was done manually. When the vessel comes, the pipes have to be plugged in. It takes time and all those kinds of. The rate at which it was pumped was very slow. But currently, if you can see, we have 5 loading hours for the various liquid cargo that we have. And these are automated. And the loading capacity is very high as compared to the load. So definitely, it is good for us. Time is of essence in business, you understand? And in deciding a port to come, economic operators take into consideration the time that they will spend in port. So if you do not have the capacity to be able to load or discharge a vessel in quick time, you shoot yourself in the foot.
All right, so you heard and saw Mr. Peter Amubediako there. He's right here in the studios with us this evening. He came all the way from Takoradi to join this show to discuss issues pertaining to the Port of Takoradi. He is the Human Resource Manager at the Port of Takoradi, and like I said in the video you just saw a while ago, he has oversight responsibility for marketing and public affairs. Good evening, Sir Chief, and thank you for joining us.
Thank you very much, Buddha.
Right, and also to my left is Mr. Kwame Jan Esquire. Everybody knows him as Lawyer Kwame Jan, an astute lawyer and a big businessman at that. He is director and chairman of Ibistec and Atlantic Terminal Services. They are those carrying out the development projects in the Port of Takoradi. Good evening, sir, and thank you for joining us.
Good evening, good evening.
We are glad to have you tonight.
Thank you, thank you.
Right, so we'll come back for the discussion, but let's go again for this particular story because the Port of Takoradi, in the course of the week again, received the biggest vessel ever that, has ever called that port. Let's take a look at that story.
The port of Takoradi has received a historic vessel call, the first of its kind in the 93-year history of the port. The vessel with the name Golden Spray is the largest ever vessel to call the port of Takoradi with a length overall of 300 meters. She came from Singapore to load out 203,500 metric tons of manganese to China. The vessel, which was received at the anchorage of the port, is a testament to the safe anchorage of the port of Takoradi and management's commitment to employing integrated strategies to ensure quality and cost-efficient service delivery to its clients.
All right, so you're welcome back. Let me go straight to you, Mr. Amubediako, and find out your comments about this particular vessel as it appeared, as it called the port in the course of the week.
Good evening, Mona, and good evening to your cherished listeners.
Yes, sir.
I think the port was constructed and opened for business in 1928, and since it began operation, this is the largest vessel that the port has received. It has a length of 300 meters. And it is coming to load cargo of 203,000. It has never happened. The largest that we've loaded is about 176,000. But this is happening at the anchorage of the port. That is within the port limits. And it's a clear testament to the fact that our waters are safe. Because if you go along the Gulf of Guinea, I think it is difficult to find a safe anchorage where business can operate efficiently. So it is not only in the port that serious operations are going on, but even at the anchorage because of the safe nature of our anchorage. Also, the business is also going on. Yeah.
So it means we have patrol boats patrolling the waters around the anchorage to ensure that vessels that call there are okay.
Yes, we have a patrol boat. GPHA has its own patrol boat. The Marine Police will also supports with the patrol, and the Navy. There is a close collaboration between all these entities, the NIB, the National Investigative Bureau, the National Security, GPHA Security, the Marine Police, and also the Navy are also in support. So that makes our anchorage very safe.
Now, so within a space of 2 weeks, we've received 2 major vessels to the port of Takoradi. What does that portend for operations in the port?
For me, I think what I can say is that it is us telling the economic business world that yes, we have the capacity to receive larger cargo and volumes. Hitherto, Takoradi Port was somehow known as dead. But over the last 10 years, you see that there has been significant development to improve port operations so that it can have its attendant positive effects on the prices of goods on the market.
Right.
So yes.
Okay. So let me come to Mr. Kwame Jan Esquire, Lawyer Kwame Jan, as we all know him. Thank you very much once again for joining us. Now, we understand Ibis-Tech is undertaking all these projects in the port of Takoradi. Tell us why a local indigenous Ghanaian company would venture into such a capital-intensive area. And so far, the story from port watchers, industry watchers, is that you have been able to prove yourselves, taking a look at what is currently happening in the port of Takoradi with regards to the Atlantic Container Terminal, with regards to the liquid bulk terminal, which we just saw on the screens, and with regard to the dry bulk terminal.
Thank you very much.
If you can draw your mic a bit closer to you, yeah, that would be fantastic.
I think the success of Ibis-Tech in Takoradi, it's not just because we are efficient. It is also because GPHA as an institution has been very supportive of our endeavors in Takoradi.
Right.
We went to Takoradi to find opportunities at the port around 2015.
Right.
And as you mentioned, currently we have 3 very significant projects relating to the port of Takoradi. The first of the projects is what is normally called Takotel. Takotel is the Takoradi equivalent of Golden Jubilee in Tema. And it's a wholly owned subsidiary of Ibis-Tech, which we put together in partnership with GPHA. So GPHA concessioned the rights to run the operations to us, Ibis-Tech. And then we raised the money and the space to be able to do the project. But the concession is coming from GPHA. And we have a very effective and efficient revenue allocation arrangement with GPHA, so that both parties are in a win-win kind of situation. So it's a private and public partnership. The other project we are running at the port is the one you just talked about, the Takoradi liquid bulk berth, or the liquid bulk terminal. It's also called the oil jetty. The story of the jetty is another collaboration between Ibis-Tech and GPHA. Now, the company which is running the jetty is called Marshall Oil and Gas Services Limited. Marshall actually is a 100% owned subsidiary of Ibis-Tech. You know, in the same way Takotel is owned 100% by Ibis-Tech, Marshall is also owned 100% by Ibis-Tech. Now, you know, Ibis-Tech is also involved in a third project. And that third project is the Container and Multipurpose Terminal, which is also known as Atlantic Terminal Services Limited, ATSL. Now, the jetty came out of Atlantic. The liquid bulk terminal came out of Atlantic. Because, like Peter would tell you, the Takoradi port has always had an oil jetty for more than 50 years. But the draft was shallow. Yeah. And when Ibistec was given the concession to develop the container and multipurpose terminal, we were granted a concession area of 61 hectares of the marine environment. Right. Interestingly, the old jetty, the old oil jetty, lies in our concession. Okay. So it became necessary to build a new oil jetty to replace that old one, which will be affected ultimately by dredging and reclamation. Yeah. So GPHA said, okay, you are our partners. Raise the money and build a new jetty. Yeah. And we will concession the operation and the maintenance and the management to you, and we will find a way to apportion the revenue between us. Right. So that's another partnership. Sure. So with this support from GPHA, we raised the money. They provided their technical support, and Amandi as the contractors, supervised by Royal Hansconi. That's the product you find there. Sure. So it is still in the same spirit of private and public sector collaboration. Yes. So GPHA did not bring money, but GPHA had done some dredging. Yeah. So we came, completed the works, did all the pipelines and the infrastructure and the loading arms, and we are partnering. Yeah. You saw the GPHA tugboats move the vessel to shore. Yeah. Yeah. Now, when I saw it, in fact, this is not the first vessel that came. Right. About 3-4 vessels have already come to berth. Okay. But this one is a mega vessel. Absolutely. I think, Peter, this is the biggest oil tanker that has come to discharge cargo at the port of Takoradi. Yeah. And the berth has the capacity to receive even bigger vessels than this one. Yeah. Because the length of the jetty is 307 meters. And I think this vessel is 183. So you can imagine the opportunity that we have in Takoradi. So that's the second one. And the Atlantic is actually the port. Right. So the Atlantic Terminal Services, ATSL, is the real Takoradi port, which is being built by way of fresh dredging, fresh reclamation, a fresh quay wall, which will now be able to receive vessels with a length of about 360 meters. Once Atlantic is done, I think Atlantic should be able to receive vessels that carry up to 20,000, probably more containers. Okay. So it's all the same collaboration with GPHA. And anytime we see a success story in Takoradi, it is not just Ibistec. We should always remember the role GPHA as an institution played in making this collaboration possible. Right. We are eternally grateful to them.
Okay, so let me.
I will tell you, in the course of our partnership with GPHA, we will fall and they will raise us up. Right. Not that they were bending the rules to favor us, but GPHA always was saying, these are Ghanaians. These guys are Ghanaians. Let us give them an opportunity to prove themselves. Right. And inshallah, we have proven ourselves.
Absolutely. So whatever happens to the popular cliche that they are a local company, they are an indigenous company, they don't have the capacity and all that. What was the motivation? You went all out. You had a dream, you believed in it, you went, you sat down with the management of GPHA, you discussed it, you ironed it out, they gave you the options. Proved to us that you can do it. Look for land, you did. Look for this funding, you did. And how come? How did you achieve that?
This dream of Ibistec started with two gentlemen, Nana Yabuahene and Eric Oredu Akofi. They are the dreamers of this project. They brought some of us on board to beef up the capacity. Right. And when we came on board, we realized that these dreams they had were achievable. Right. We were not expecting to get an asphalt road throughout. We encountered challenges, but what we realized was that when we were confronted with capacity questions, and this capacity issue was actually coming from the World Bank. The World Bank insisted, the then country director was a gentleman from Uganda called Dr. Kerari or something. He had no confidence in us. He didn't believe in us at all. And his mantra was, these guys have no capacity. And we were trying to impress upon them that capacity is available on the market. What we need to have is the skill to be able to put bits and pieces of a project together and make it bankable. So we told them we are not marine engineers. We don't have to be. But can we put together the consultants and the contractors and the funders and deliver a project? That capacity we had.
Sure.
And this is what has been demonstrated. We hired Jan Dinu, which is probably, if not the best, among the best marine contractors in the world. We hired Ryan Haskoni, which, if not the best, is among the best supervisors or consultants in the world. We hired Trinity, one of the best law firms in the world, UK-based. And with this and our own skills, and with institutional support from GPHA, and some political support from key political leaders, we were able to put this thing together. So this myth about capacity has been shattered. That locals, when given the necessary support, are able to deliver.
Yes.
At least, Mr. Mona, you will bear with me that for a project like this, put together by locals, if we make money, where is the money going to?
It's staying in Ghana.
Stays here. The money stays here. There is, apart from paying off our loans, there is no net repatriation of cash.
Sure.
Once the loans are paid off, everything stays here. Because these are Ghanaians who are put together this project.
Absolutely.
So the whole point is, if we give our locals the opportunity, and it's also important to stress that when locals are given this opportunity, they shouldn't let down those who had faith in them. When we started this project and the World Bank was bashing us, we had the support of His Excellency the President. We had the support of the Vice President of the Republic, His Excellency Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia. We had the support of the Chairman of the Council of State. We had the support of the Minister of Transport, and we had the GPHA support as well. So with this kind of support, we realized that we have to deliver and bring glory to the faces of those who put their faith in us.
Absolutely.
And anytime we chalk one success after the other, we give it to the glory of God and those who stood by us in our moments of trials.
Right. Fantastic. Thank you very much indeed. I'll come back to you for more. But let me come to Mr. Amubidiako and find out from you. All these projects are, ongoing, and the minister had occasion to visit the port 2 weeks ago with his deputies to introduce them to management of the port, and intimated that the commencement date for operations for the Atlantic Container Terminal will be in December. God willing, it will start operations. Now, when all these projects are completed and come on stream, what do you think will be how will operations in the port of Takoradi be? Do you think that it would enhance and improve service delivery?
Definitely, it will enhance and improve service delivery. One thing that I can say is that there's a saying in the industry: a ship at sea makes money, a ship in port loses money. So it is important that all resources are put together to ensure that when a vessel comes in port, the turnaround time is very quick, so that prices of goods on the market is reduced. Because when the ship stays in port, you have to pay the demurrage. The person who brought the vessel in will definitely put those demurrage charges on the prices of goods. There's something, if you look at the old port that we had, I think the key length was about 875 meters.
Right.
With draft of 8.6 meters to 10.2 meters on high water. This was serving the needs of all types of vessels. Out of the 875, we had about 153. Help me with the mathematics. My math is not
173.
153.
Yes.
875. Out of it, 153 was dedicated for manganese.
Yes.
So that will reduce it to 722. Am I correct?
Yes.
Yeah.
Let me see.
We also give 100 meters to the anchor company of oil and gas industry in Thailand.
Yes. Yeah.
100 meters dedicated to them. That further reduced it to 622.
Okay.
We gave priority berthing to ENI out of the 170. That brought it down to 522. So 522 competing with bulk, container, and oil and gas. You can imagine. That's why if you look at the statistics of Takoradi Port, if you go back 20, 30 years, we could not have a foothold in the container market because we did not have the capacity. An example is when a ro-ro vessel even comes. A ro-ro vessel traditionally will be about a length of 230 something, 234, 35 meters. With the ramp extended, it will take it to about 270. Now you have about 522. Take away 270 meters out of it. It brings you to about, how much? 300, about 200 and something is left for all the other cargo operations. This will have a replica effect on the queuing of vessels that are coming in into the port, and waiting time will increase. What does it tell to the business public? It is not worthy to come to Takoradi Port. One, you wait at the anchorage for a very long time. When they wait at the anchorage, it will replicate in the prices of freight to the port. So the agreement with the EBISTEC to bring on board the Atlantic terminal is just fabulous. This one is going to free up space in the old port so that we can attend to the oil and gas service supply vessels that are coming in. The EBISTEC project, the first phase is 600 meters. The quay wall is almost complete. It's left with the furniture, the bollards, and the fenders to be fixed. I think about 100,000 square meters is already going to be paved. And inshallah, I hope by November ending, we shall receive our first vessel at the ATS terminal. At least we can have some Christmas load and discharge some Christmas cargo. Inshallah. I know looking at this, the rate at which the work is going, we will discharge.
What's the capacity of the terminal?
The first phase is 600 meters at 16 meter depth. The old port where we're receiving cargo was just 10 meters on high water. You understand? This one can bed 2 large vessels at a time. So right now we have free space inside the old port.
And how many TEUs can it accommodate?
We are targeting about 1 million tons within a year. Possible, because we are not only positioning Takoradi Port, we are positioning Ghana as a whole. And remember, we are not only serving the domestic market. We are looking at the landlocked countries of Niger, Mali, and
somebody said that's quite ambitious.
It is. But we have to reach for the sky. Why not? EBISTEC has proved that with God everything is possible. It can be done. Yeah, it was possible. Let's go to the bulk jetty. We have a bulk jetty of 800 meters, the quay wall 800 at 16 meter depth. In the old port, what we have done is to reduce the double handling of cargo. Manganese was loading at 8.6. It will go midstream to the boys and top up using barges to load to about maximum of 40,000 at 11 meters. Bauxite, the vessel will come in at the boys, load with barges to about 40,000. Clinker for cement and gypsum for cement, the vessel will come in at midstream at 11. It couldn't even come to the boy. It couldn't even come to the bed. It was loading at midstream at the boy. They will use barges to cut the clinker and the gypsum onto a conveyor belt. That would then take it to the factory. We have been able to eliminate the double handling of all the bulk cargoes in the port with the coming into operation of the new dry bulk jetty. And if you look at the capacity, it has freed up space in the old port. So right now we have 875 meters plus Atlantic terminal 600 that is coming on board. When the Atlantic terminal is completed, they have another 900 meters to add to it. Okay. We have 800 meters of the new bulk jetty. So 800 plus 800, that is 1,675, plus another 600 that is coming on board. That will bring us to about over 2,000. If you add the new liquid bulk jetty, yes, we are in the top league. So yes, queuing of vessels now will reduce. It is hoped that this will have positive impact on freight to Takoradi, so that the gas prices will reduce on the market. So yes, port operations has improved significantly.
All right. Let me come to you, Mr. Kwame, and find out whether you are optimistic that with the completion of the terminal, the container terminal, would attract the necessary or requisite, traffic to Takoradi.
You'll be surprised. I won't disclose all of it, but I can tell you, the giants in the shipping industry are knocking at our door.
Right.
The giants, all the giants are knocking at our door because of the particular advantages that Takoradi has in this sub-region. Right. So the big guys are trying to partner with us to use Takoradi as their hub.
Right.
So
that's refreshing.
Very refreshing. And we expect that when these big guys come on board, the container numbers, because if you have a big guy who delivers a vessel that carries 20,000 containers, which are going to be used to service through smaller vessels to other ports, then you know Takoradi has arrived.
Absolutely.
And you take the example of this jetty. The gentleman who is the rep of the shipping line.
Yes, Inchcape, Mr. Donko, Christian.
He was talking about the vessel moving from offshore Lomé. Going, I mean, he's docking at about 3 ports. Yeah. In the past, this was not the case. So I believe, for example, as we are sitting, the number of people who have approached us seeking to construct tank farms within the secondary Takoradi metropolis is incredible. Because now with this new jetty, you have just a shorter period to be in the port. In fact, it will even be shorter if the owners of the tank farm bring their pipelines consistent with our pipelines. Because we have bigger pipelines. When the bigger pipelines get to the manifold area, the lines that are going from the manifold to the tank farms are smaller.
Right.
So the tank farm owners are not yet, and the vessel owners are not yet reaping the full benefit of the jetty. If we can get the tank farm owners to realign and expand the sizes of their pipes, the 23 hours Mr. Bediako talked about will be halved.
Right. That will be significant.
It will be very significant. And in fact, one possibility that Adistech and Marshall are considering is the possibility that we will construct a line same as the line that we are bringing to the manifold.
Okay.
To another header point close to the tank farms. You know, because the tank farms in Takoradi, interestingly, are in that same corridor.
Enclave, okay.
So if we can create another header area close to the tank farms, then shorter pipes will just take from the second header area to them, and then they can take the full benefit of the power of the jetty, because they are not giving it the full force yet, because the cost implications of doing a line. Because remember, the jetty has a pigging system which would clean up after every discharge so that there is no contamination.
Right.
And it's all automated. So we can use one line to the header area at the tank farm and just clean up after every discharge so that no product is contaminated.
Right.
So we are very optimistic that business will boom
in Takoradi.
And Peter said something when we were looking for opportunity in Takoradi. a top official of GPHA told us something. And he challenged us that one day we will come back to him and say that he was right. He said, in the port industry, it is generally true that the cargo will follow the space. It is generally true that the cargo will follow the space. You see, the moment we changed the status of the jetty, the liquid bulk terminal, you saw the vessel that showed up.
Absolutely.
Because the cargo will follow the space. And we know that for Atlantic Terminal, the same thing will happen.
Okay.
And one of the things which I would say is still relating to GPHA collaboration. Already GPHA teams and our teams have traveled to the landlord's countries to tell them about Atlantic and what it is bringing. So already there is sensitization going on. And I know once Peter is in the marketing chair, the sensitization will continue and Takoradi would be showed up there. All these programs, you know, I believe that some of our friends and brothers in the landlocked countries are also watching.
Absolutely.
And they would know about the opportunities.
And that is why we are bringing you a proposal to sponsor Iron Port. You know, so
we will
prepare for us.
Just bring the proposal.
Absolutely.
We will.
Right. Thank you very much indeed,
Yes.
sir. Thank you, sir. Right, so this is Iron Port here on Metropolitan Television. Tonight we are discussing the port of Takoradi. There are serious works that are ongoing there. Some of them are near completion. Some of them have even started receiving. For instance, we saw the liquid bulk terminal where the big deep draft tanker, you know, went and berthed and then successfully discharged some 9,500 metric tons of cargo as gas oil. And so that's what we're looking at tonight. When all these projects are, you know, done and brought on stream, what the implications are for the port of Takoradi, what does it portend for the port in terms of socio-economic living for the people in the area, and also for job creation and all that. And so we'll be back after this commercial break. Please do stay.
GOIL makes good things happen. This time, GOIL has introduced Super XP Ron 95, a higher grade fuel loaded with additives and yet sold at the same price as normal fuel. GOIL Super XP Ron 95 enhances engine performance like never before. It maintains the engine by keeping it clean from carbon deposits. GOIL Super XP Ron 95 is designed to burn slowly and thus improves fuel economy, making you save money after several kilometers. GOIL Super XP Ron 95 gives you a smooth driving experience, that is, less vibrations. Fill up with GOIL Super XP Ron 95. Now there's no need to pay more for any higher grade fuel. GOIL has that sorted. GOIL, good energy.
Electricity, pay your taxes. Our taxes, our future.
Because you see, without our taxes, we wouldn't have good roads, good schools, better hospitals, street lights, and other very important social amenities. When we pay our taxes, we give our children free and quality education. Talga, my money too small. Why should I pay my tax? Look, small. Salifo, it doesn't matter how small or big your business or income is. You still have to pay your taxes. The little taxes from each and every one of us, when put together, could give your community clean water, or that deprived school with tables and chairs. Please pay your taxes. It is your responsibility. It is your civic duty. It is the law.
All right, so you're welcome back. Let me go straight to Mr. Amubediako and find out from you what do you think about the dry bulk terminal, which is the deepest in West Africa. How are you going to leverage this advantage, you know, compared to your other ports who are competitors, so to speak?
I think being the deepest is enough. That tells you that we can bring in bigger vessels and handle volume. It has the capacity of handling about between 100,000 tons to 120,000 tons at a time. The length is 800 meters with a 60-meter depth. what going forward, the second phase of the project is the installation of 3 conveyor belts and a ship loader and the pavement of the operational surface areas to at least facilitate quicker operations. If you look at the bulk, currently with the ship's crane and hoppers, we are doing about 800 metric tons a day.
Okay.
So a vessel coming in to load about 60,000 will take about a week to load. That's the current operation.
Yeah.
If the project is completed, we are looking at a loading rate of 2,500 metric tons per hour.
Okay. Per
So
hour.
yes, per hour. So the maximum that a 60,000 vessel load, that's maximum about 2 days. The vessel is off. So you can see
That's
the savings
big
from
turnaround
7
time,
days
yeah.
to about maximum, all things being equal, 2 days.
2 days.
That's a lot of money.
It's like 5 days, yeah, sure.
Exactly.
Because with all these 5 days, if the vessel was still there, it would be accruing money, demurrage and all that. Wow.
And what I can say is that hopefully by October 2021, the pavement of the surface area will be completed. Currently, the structures to support the conveyor system will be also by end of October. It's under construction and will be ready by end of October. The ship loaders will come in pre-assembled, and by the end of first quarter 2022, I think it will be plugged in, and we start receiving the first vessel to use the ship loader to load. So yes, cost efficiently, we are putting up strategies to ensure that when vessels come in the port, they do not stay there for long.
Yeah. Okay. All right. So let me come to Mr. Kwame John. There's this issue of job creation with the works you are doing in Takoradi. You have several projects. You've mentioned them and all that. Takotel was the first. I mean, it's done and dusted and it's in operation. We have the other projects in the port. Can you tell us about the job creation figures, if you have any, and when it comes to completion, what you're expecting?
Takotel has more than 100 full-timers, but the bulk of Takotel staff are provided by two groups. One is Southeast, which is a service provider,
right,
a labor provider, and what's the name of
Ghana
the union?
Dock Labor,
yeah, which is partly owned by GPHA,
yes,
and another entity.
Yes.
Yeah, so Takotel, we are talking about more than 450 people working around Takotel currently.
Right.
And the jetty has about 20 staff. See, the liquid bulk terminal, interestingly, doesn't employ too many people because it is very highly automated.
Yes.
You know, like Peter was saying that the previous one, when the vessel arrives, you have to carry ropes here and there.
Yeah.
And now this one is heavily automated.
Right.
But there's about 30 people working around the jetty.
Okay.
Between 20 and 30 people.
Right.
And these are full-time, pretty well-paid jobs. Now, for Atlantic construction, currently more than 400 people are working on the construction.
Right.
And once the terminal becomes operational, the numbers would be decent.
Right.
So, and Peter, probably, what are you thinking about the whole operation?
To support what Chairman is saying,
yes,
I think the job creation should not only be centered within the port alone. The expansion, we should look at what the expansion will attract, the business that it will attract into the secondary Takoradi metropolis.
Right.
And I'll give you an example. If you look at Mantrak, Mantrak, because of the expansion of the port, has built, I think, their West African head office, whereby they do a lot of servicing of equipment to the mining sector, not only in Ghana, but beyond. But it is all because of what is happening in the port of Takoradi. There is a company called Black Ivy. Black Ivy, because of the expansion of the port, has acquired 400 acres of land.
Okay.
just about 25 minutes drive from the port. What is the motive of acquiring? They intend bringing in multinationals all over from the world to come and do assembling of things. What do you think that would do? What it will do that is to create more employment into the metropolis. We have recently a cement factory acquired 20 acres to construct a new cement factory about 20 minutes drive from the port. It will also add to the employment. So the employment should not only be concentrated. I remember when Takoradi came on board, I went to a radio station and I was having a discussion. And somebody just gave, port no wegu. Port no, enkane nebe ba port no. Ebe hunde nipa gu anu bebrebe. O hunde me pa je nipa port no da bi niama nkodo port no do. That was when cocoa was located inside it. The cocoa warehouse was located inside the port. So now cocoa is about 13, 14 kilometers away from Kejebri. So you wouldn't see that much. All that you see is the trucks coming in. Likewise, Takoradi, all the dividing activities were done inside the port. But now it has been moved to Takoradi, which is about 6 kilometers, 6 minutes drive from the port. So we didn't see the group of people, the human traffic that uses. So people think that, oh, nothing is going on. But you realize that, a lot is going on inside the port. So don't look at only just the port, but beyond. What are the business that are being attracted to the secondary Takoradi metropolis? And you see that it's increasing.
All right. So last year, I know that due to the COVID-19 pandemic, some aspects of operations in the port of Takoradi were affected. Have you fully bounced back this year?
It's a yes and no. It's a yes and no. For us to really appreciate the figures, I would like to start from 2019 so that you can see where we are coming from. 2019, if you look at the whole port traffic, we handled about 10.5 million tons.
Last year, that's
2019.
Okay, 2019.
It dropped to 7.5 million metric tons in 2020.
Okay.
Now, if you look at half year of January to June 2020, we had handled 2.7 million metric tons of cargo.
Okay.
However, this year, we have handled, January to June 2020, we've handled 3.6 million metric tons. So, despite the fact that it dropped annually from 2019 to 2020, if you compare the half-year figures, you see a rise from 2.7 to 3.6.
Yes.
The bigger question that you need to ask is, what has influenced this increase?
Yes.
And there's a significant, interesting thing that is happening in the port. And that is due to the bulk jetty that was. Like Chairman said, once the facility is there, you realize that people will come chasing the facility. Last year, I'll give you January to December 2019. Total clinker imports through the port was 2.8 million metric tons. 2020, despite the COVID, it increased.
Okay.
It increased to 1.7 million metric tons. Wow. Last year, January to June 2020, we had handled 688,000 tons of clinker. This year, we've done 1.2 million metric tons.
Right.
So you realize that all the clinker, the majority, Gasem has increased their, first they were bringing 40,000 and has gone to 60,000.
Okay.
Unisem has increased theirs. Safe Cement has come back to the port, you understand? Western Diamonds have also increased. So because of the capacity that we have been able to build. Yes. The other thing is that exports on the other side. Let's look at export from 2009. 7.5 million tons the whole year. This one reduced in 2020 to 4.4 million metric tons. This year, as at June, last year as at June, we had handled 1.4 million metric tons. This year, we have handled 1.8 million metric tons of cargo. Now, what are the influences? The commodity that influence. And you can realize that it is manganese. Manganese is influencing. Last year, as at June, and then we had handled just 416,000 metric tons of manganese. Okay. And this was due to the fact that I think for about 5 months or 4 months in the whole of last year, there was no export of manganese because there was the capping of the manganese and the challenge with government to come out with the appropriate figures for them to export. But once this thing has been settled, you realize that it has jumped from 416 metric tons to 1.2 million metric tons. Another commodity that is of significant importance to the port of Takoradi has been bauxite. Last year, as at the end of June, we had handled 690,000 metric tons. But this year, it has gone down significantly. And from our little investigations, I think there is a challenge with the licensing authorities as to how this has slowed down exports of bauxite to about 1 vessel a month, which ideally would have been 2 or 3 vessels a month. And we would like to appeal to the challenging, to appeal to the authorities to see and help bauxite to bounce back. Right. So you realize that yes and no, there have been positives and negatives. With regards to supply vessels, you know, the discovery of oil has been a blessing to the port of Takoradi in 2007. Yes. Especially if you look at the statistics from 2009, more than 50% of our vessel calls have been that of the supply vessels. More than 50, from 2009, every year in, year out. Right. Let's go back to 2019 and see. The whole of 2019, we handled 1,628 vessel calls. Okay. 980 of them was attributed to the supply vessel. Okay. Yes, that was 60% of total vessel calls. Right. In 2020, you know, because of the ban on oil, the ban on travels and the seizure of worldwide production, it affected the price of crude oil, and this has really affected the industry. And you could see that reflecting in the port of, because exploration and other things are not going on in the area. It dropped from 1,628 in 2019 to 1,098, out of which 537. So from 980, it dropped to 537. That's 49%, still dominant in the vessel calls. This last year, as at end of June, we had handled 594 vessel calls. Wow. 324 of them were attributed to the oil and gas, still 55%, still leading. This year, January to June, we have handled 494 vessels. Supply vessels still dominating with 220, but you could see that the trend is going down. Okay. Despite the fact that it still leads with 46%. Sure. The bulk, you could see that the clinker and manganese and bauxite, that is the strength of the port of Takoradi. Yeah. And you could see it reflecting in the calls of the bulk vessels calling the port. Last year, as at the end of June, we had handled 62. This year, we moved up to 84. Right. What we have not recovered from has been the cruise liners. Cruise liners, okay. For the past 2 years, we've not had a cruise line, and we all know because of COVID, it has really affected. So that is the statistical picture of the performance. Bauxite is dropping, manganese is on the right, and clinker has taken shape. Right. Seriously. Okay. All right, there's a question relating to oil. This one says, what's the GPHA's plans towards the development of a free port or a dedicated port for the upstream oil and gas sector? I believe their slow responsiveness to the demand emanating from that sector is costing them a lot. This one's from one Joseph. You haven't added your name, Joseph. Next time, that's your location where you are sending the message from, so that we can know who is sending the message. So, is this something you'd like to respond to? Which one? This particular message. Plans of GPHA to build a free port for oil and gas sector, upstream oil and gas sector. I think plans are far advanced to ensure that that one comes into place. Yeah. All right. So you heard him. He says plans are far afoot for that to come, on stream. Let me come to Mr. Kwame and find out from you whether you intend to diversify. Maybe after the expansion works in the port of Takoradi, are you looking at going to other areas? Maybe still within the port, industry.
There is still one aspect of the current expansion which we would have to complete.
Okay.
Peter was telling you there is a 600-meter key up to -16 for containers.
Right.
That key will be extended to 800 meters.
Okay. So
dedicated to containers.
200, yeah.
Now there is another key of -794 plus a shorter key of 206. So we would build a 206 plus 794 meters of key, which we are planning to also dredge to -16.
Right.
So what will happen is we will dedicate the 800 meters to container handling with STSs and all, and then the 206 and the 794 be dedicated to general cargo operations. Once that is done, we would have done the pavement of the 61 hectares of space, and then officially the Takoradi Port Expansion project, our component would have been completed.
Right.
Then we will be heading to Akwa Ibom in Nigeria.
Nigeria, yes.
I told you ahead
Absolutely.
that we have received a proposal to come and build based on their master plan there.
Absolutely.
So we will be going international.
Absolutely. So absolutely, and that has to do with your track record in the port of Takoradi,
Exactly.
because you have delivered and they've monitored and seen what you have been able to do.
And it is also because we were able to gather the courage to do what we did in this country.
Yeah.
And so we did not introduce ourselves to Akwa Ibom. They have found us.
Absolutely.
As an African company that had the capacity, demonstrated capacity, not capacity by word of mouth. You know, so, but we all, you know, GPHA and us, we are in it together.
Right.
I don't think we can carry them to Akwa Ibom, but we will rely on their expertise.
Absolutely.
That's very good news to hear.
Yes. So tell us, in the course of the journey, what are some of the challenges? What were some of the challenges that you had to surmount to get to where you are today?
Raising the cash. I think that's because we didn't have a track record in the industry. Raising the cash was very difficult for us.
Yeah.
And it got to a point where we thought we would get some support in terms of maybe lower interest rates for project funding. But we were not finding it easy. For example, Takutel, we had to rely on private commercial bank funding. And then for Atlantic and the jetty, we got project funding at reasonably decent rates. But if we had a track record, we could have gotten these facilities at a lower rate than what we got. So funding was really a big challenge. And project implementation therefore delayed because we were looking for funding. Apart from funding, the misinformation was another problem we had. You know, there was a lot of misinformation about who were behind the project and whether we, the people whose faces are showing, are fronting for politicians.
Exactly.
I mean, you know the Ghana thing. You know, these people, who are they? They cannot do this. And they are fronting for politicians. You know, and then when there was the change of government, I mean, you know, it came up. But we proved that we were our own men and that we were not fronting for anybody. We were just Ghanaians who wanted to do something good in this country.
Yes.
You know, so we were able to surmount that part. Apart from that, it is the usual, they cannot do it. You know, that kind of, they don't have capacity. And that also has been put aside because you remember I said the key politicians believed in us.
Yes. Right.
The key politicians believed in us. So even though they were not talking loud in public, they were giving us assurances.
The moral support
that
behind the scenes.
They had our back.
Yeah, sure.
And trust the President of the Republic himself, June 10th, 2018, went to cut the sword for the construction of Atlantic. And the Vice President, you mentioned September, went to commission the oil jetty. The reason the oil jetty delayed in terms of operations after the commissioning, GPHA insisted that without a very efficient firefighting system, modern firefighting system, they will not let us begin the operations. And you know, without those systems, we're even having a challenge with insurance.
Right.
You know, so you can imagine this vessel that showed up without solid insurance, who will bring their vessel of that magnitude to your port. So GPHA insisted that the right things should be done.
Right.
And indeed, when the right things were done, they gave us the green light. And we can't also end this story without saying something about MPA.
Yeah.
The National Petroleum Authority was very supportive.
Okay.
There is a woman, then it was Mr. Tampuli, who was the Director General.
Yes,
he was the Chief
CEO,
Executive.
Yeah, sure.
Yes. And you know, those of us who are teachers, sometimes they say that the salary is not good, so we should stop. Tampuli was my student in Legon.
Right. I know you lecture law. Do you still lecture?
Yeah, I still lecture. I will lecture until I'm not able to walk.
Wow.
Yes.
Wow.
You know, so Al Hassan was my student.
Yes.
I went to him, and he said, wow, he himself came to the facility. And he instructed his team, Mr. Inkum, Mrs. Ankum, that they should support IBSTEC to realize this dream. And they did.
Absolutely.
You know, so MPA.
Right. Thank you very much indeed. Let me come to this a few messages here and then. But I also want to activate the phone lines now. We have barely a few minutes to go. You can also, the number to dial is 020-552-8353, 020-552-8353, and you can contribute to the discussion. Now, this one says, I'm happy Mr. Kwame Jan has made great progress with this Takoradi Port project. I remember Mr. Kwame Jan used to talk about this project during lectures at the University of Ghana Law School when I was his student. I hope to get my share of the proceeds of this business as a former student who also urged him on. This is Sela, former student of Mr. Kwame Jan. So he says he wants his proceeds share. This one says, great show, I import, great job, IBSTEC. It's from Ohima in Tema. This one says, hi, I'm Eric, a Ghanaian, and I watch your program regularly on Facebook. I graduated with MSc Maritime Science from Ghent University, Belgium, and currently living and working in Antwerp Port in Belgium. I intend to settle back in Ghana and work with the port industry, so I sent my application for job opportunity with IBSTEC's group with their subsidiary Atlantic Terminal Services last year, and when I was in Ghana. And I was in Ghana in January this year to follow up, and still haven't received a reply. Please, can I get Lawyer Kwame Jan's email address to reach? Okay, this is a job seeker.
I'll send you his.
Who's taking advantage of the show?
Yes.
To because chairman himself is
those
here.
Are the people we need.
Absolutely.
No, he comes back with different skills and different work attitudes.
Absolutely.
Those are the people.
Right. So it says he'll need your email address, and so maybe when we finish,
we'll give it to him.
Yeah, so that we send.
We'll give it to him.
Hello, good evening. My name is Kofi Kwachi from Takoradi. Congratulations to GPHA and IBSTEC. But my question is, when is Takoradi Port beginning to receive rural vessels?
Rural vessels, we've been receiving rural vessels since time immemorial. Yeah, that's why I gave an example that a rural vessel even comes with the normal, when it's 234, with a ramp extended. We're extending to about 270. That limits the old port. Okay. That is why it is important for us to partner with the key industry players to at least free up space for other operations. So we've been handling rural vessels since time immemorial. Grimaldi comes in here.
Okay. All right. So let me find out from you whether with the current situation of things, in the scheme of things in the port of Takoradi, you think that you are migrating from an export-driven port to an import-driven one?
Yes, definitely. We are on that road. And with the coming on board of ATS, it's not going to be an easy journey, but it's something that is worth going up for. Yes, so definitely. But currently, commodity portfolio is skewed towards more of exports. But it does not necessarily mean that we do not handle imports. I'll give you an example. We started operation in 1928. Tema started operations in 1962. So between that period, we were the port of Takoradi were handling both import and export for Ghana. So we have the capacity. It was just that because most of the commodities now are containerized. We didn't have enough capacity to handle container. That's why you think that. But clinker, for example, is the import that comes in.
All right, so the issue of equipment, because you are going to operate in a larger scale, on a larger scale now, activity is going to be brisk there and all that. Do you have the requisite infrastructure to match, the requisite equipment to match these activities?
Yes, I think we've started with the liquid bulk jetty is an example of an automated marine loading arm that is help facilitate the quick discharge of cargo.
Yeah.
You go to the new bulk jetty. I've already discussed the issue of bringing in 3 conveyor belts, a ship loader, and also an eco-friendly hopper to ensure that the environment is not polluted. And this one is will be loading at the rate of 2,500 metric tons per hour.
Yeah.
If you come into ATS, lawyer just talked about the fact that they will bring in an STS to be able to handle the cargo. If you go into the old port, you have 2 modern Liebherr mobile cranes with a capacity of 220 tons. We have a mobile equipment, forklifts, reach stackers. You have all the equipment ready to assist any type of cargo and heavy lifts.
Right. Okay. So let me come to Mr. Kwame John and find out from you. You have seen it all in terms of this journey to venture into the port industry and what you have been able to achieve in the port of Takoradi, which has become evident, and for which reason you have other neighboring ports, neighboring countries running to you to want to access your services and your expertise. What would you tell indigenous businesses? People have dreams, but the dreams are not able to be, to germinate and to mature to fruition, just like unlike what you have been able to do. What advice do you have for them? We are the same people who kill people's dreams with our words, with our discouragement, our discouraging attitude. But you have been able to sail through.
I will show you something. I picked up, somebody sent me a write-up on Opera News. 500 million project, the truths and exclusive photos, Takoradi Harbour. Just give me 1 second, let me read what they said, the preface.
Yes.
The person said, one major problem the Ghanaian democracy faces today that is really hurting our progress as a country is misinformation, born of negative political propaganda. Sadly, both the government and opposition continuously lie to the people with impunity. This is someone's write-up. Yeah. Since this problem does not seem to be going away anytime soon, the burden of proof has fallen on the shoulders of a few fact-finders that remain among the players within our country's media controllers. When the news of government blowing 500 million on a non-existing Takoradi Port expansion project dropped in 2020, I therefore made it a point to critically investigate and find the facts of the case. The word on the streets back then was that the government of Ghana was dipping its hands in taxpayers' money and using a non-existing Atlantic terminal construction project as a cover-up. This, however, has been found not to be true. Upon visiting and spending a few days at the port of Takoradi to critically observe and also ask detailed questions, yes, I can now categorically report that the construction of a container terminal is currently underway. According to the reps of some of the construction companies on site, the project is born out of an agreement between GPHA and Abistec, and so and so and so and so. This is what is killing us.
Yes.
Misinformation, sometimes because we just want to lie.
Yeah.
And anybody who seeks to venture into any serious business in this country, we just have to gather the courage.
Yeah.
That these things would come at you, mud will be thrown at you, mud, real mud, will be thrown at you. But get the courage and focus. Learn about the industry.
Yeah.
You see, you want to go into the port business. Me, I'm a lawyer, I'm a land lawyer.
Yeah.
I don't do work on the marine areas. But when we went to Takoradi, I realized if I don't learn the language of the port, if I don't learn the vocabulary of the port,
the jargons,
of the port, I will not be able to contribute in any meeting or discussion. So I started learning. I'll call Peter. I'll call Engineer Komlofori. And occasionally when I'm speaking, the people think
you have been in the industry for all this while.
I have nothing, no learning in that area. But if you want to invest in any sector, learn about the sector. If you don't learn about the sector and you follow the technical people, if you are not careful, one day they will lead you into a ditch. So you have to learn about the sector, gather the courage, and you can't also learn unless you have a certain level of humility.
Right.
If you think you know, nobody teaches you. So these are the kinds of strengths, and you should also have the luck, the providence of getting a good partner.
Sure.
We've been very lucky. I told you, GPHA, NPA, and these are the benchmarks which have caused us to succeed.
Absolutely.
So not just our own attitudes, but we've been lucky to have partners like Peter and his team, and we got political support. So once you got political support, you are willing to learn, you have a good institutional partner, I mean, you should succeed.
Right.
But it's not come on a silver platter. It's been, from 2015, consistent hard work. Consistent hard work. Occasionally, bombs are thrown at us. There was a bomb which was thrown at us on the 29th of December 2017. We had set up our place for a party, a Christmas party. We got bad news. We canceled the party. We went back to the drawing board. We talked. And look at us. So this year, God willing, we'll throw a massive party. And I will invite all the people who made it possible. And then we will enjoy it together.
Right. Okay. I think we can just take one call because we have barely 5 minutes to go. Kwesi from Washington. Good evening, sir.
Good evening, Mona. How are you and your
By His grace, we are terrific. Thank you very much indeed.
Yes, I'm really impressed with the contributions made by especially the man from ATS or IBSTEC.
Okay.
And then, I want to say we are really impressed with the kind of performance they are putting up. But, Bona, I have one issue with you personally.
Yes.
Yes, I think that for some time now, the conversation has been around this management.
Yes.
Okay. So some of us, your ardent viewers, we want to suggest that once a while you bring the workers front, okay, so that we also get their input from some of these contributions. I believe IBSTEC has stopped this success because of the work front.
Right.
Okay. So I think it's about time we need to bring them on board. We listen to them. I believe in as much as we are talking these successes, there may be few challenges that if we listen to them, I believe they also have the solutions to us. Thank you very much. And
all right. Thank you very much.
Day. By the way, I want to be invited to the party at the end of the year. Thank you. Bye-bye.
All right. Chairman, I said I know they would extend an invitation to you for the party. Thank you very much, Kwesi from Washington. We are grateful to you. Let me come to you, Mr. Bediako, and find out, finally, the story of Takoradi Port is about to change. And so what message do you have for port users, stakeholders, your clients, and all that?
First of all, let me say a big thank you to all our stakeholders. For the COVID really impacted us, but they stood by us, the economic operators stood by us, and we have been able to gradually come out of it. The port offers a lot of opportunity, and I think Lawyer has given an example, or IBSTEC is an example of what can happen. What I would tell the public, especially the investor public, I think about 2 years ago, the president gave an executive order that the port should be expanded to the naval base.
Right.
And that is a huge opportunity that is lying out there. I take this medium to at least welcome investors. Lawyer has talked about the institutional support that GPHA gives to investors for them to partner with GPHA and succeed.
Right.
To our stakeholders, I'd like to also say that management will continue to monitor the logistics chain and also come out with solutions to ensure that we are able to come out with deliberate, integrated strategies to be able to support the logistics of all the cargoes that pass through the port.
Right.
I'd like to say a very big thank you to this team, the Port Health.
Right.
I must say the Port Health of Takoradi has done tremendously very well during these challenging times. Without them, I think that a lot would not have gone on in Takoradi Port.
Okay.
In the peak period of COVID, these were gallant men that went out to meet the ships at Anchorage.
Right.
Yes.
Okay.
Areas to ensure that everything is safe before they come in.
Okay.
And I enough of my heart to them.
Thank you very much indeed, Mr. Peter Amubediak, who is the Human Resource Manager, who also has oversight responsibility for marketing and public affairs at the Port of Takoradi. We've also been speaking to Mr. Kwame Jan Esquire. He's the Director and Chairman of Ibistec and Atlantic Terminal Services. He's a lawyer, he's a lecturer, he's a businessman, and he's so many things. I mean, we appreciate your time, gentlemen, for coming this evening to join us here on Iron Port. Remember, the program is brought to you by GPHA, Ghana Ports and Harbours Authority, Ghana Revenue Authority, Well Company Limited, Serene Insurance, and Ghana Link Network Services, operators of the Integrated Customs Management System, ICOMS, in the ports. Remember, the abridged version of Iron Port will be aired on Wednesday at 8:30 p.m. on Ghana Television. My name is Kennedy Mona. God willing, next week Sunday, we'll be back with another edition. Thank you and have a super week ahead.